Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be answering all your questions that you guys had for me regarding the Doomsday Heist DLC trailer and all the information we know so far. So a couple things about this. Number one, I am not going to be answering questions that I've done specifically in videos. So for example, I got a lot of questions that were, how many vehicles did we see in the trailer? How much money are we going to need? I've done dedicated videos to those topics, and I'll try and link as many of them as I can in the description. What I was trying to do today is answer questions that I haven't touched in other videos or were pretty interesting enough. And number two, we have a ton of questions. So I'm going to try and not go too long on each one so you guys aren't here forever. But just know you guys asked a bunch of amazing questions this week leading up to the DLC coming out in just a few short days. So let's jump into it and let's get it started. Our first question today is, how many more vehicles than what we saw in the trailer do you think we will get? So we saw 10 or 11 vehicles in the trailer, depending on if the submarine will be available. We'll touch on that in a little bit. So Rockstar typically show off about 50% of the vehicles in the trailer. So I'm imagining there's going to be about 9 or 10 vehicles that we have not seen yet. Maybe some of them are weaponized vehicles. Hopefully some of them are more casual civilian cars, as we didn't really see any of those in the trailer, but I'm going to guess 9 or 10 more. Our next question comes from Jack. He says, this might sound like a dumb question, but do you think the heist missions will be taking place from your apartment like the original heist, or do we have to buy some expensive building? Not a dumb question at all, because that's a valid question. The original heist missions were done in high-end apartments. Where is this one going to take place? And I think that we will have to end up buying a new property in order to gain access to the Doomsday Heist. Just like you had to buy a bunker in order to get access to those missions, just like you had to buy a hangar in order to get access to the Smugglers Run stuff, you're going to have to buy some sort of property in order to get involved with the heist. They're not just going to start this operation from your high-end apartment that you've had from 2015. I think it's going to be a little bit more complex than that. Our next question comes from Oman, who says, how much do you think you will earn if you complete the Doomsday Heist? So we'll actually get into how long I think it's going to take a little bit later, but my guess is going to be somewhere around the lines of $4 to $5 million. I think the maximum amount you could make from the original Pacific Standard Heist finale was like $2 million, maybe a little bit less than that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know it's going to be more than that, 100%. Matthew Clark says, do you think we'll be able to buy the submarine? Because where would they go? Because we already have yachts. So I am going to guess no. I think the submarine is going to be just like this bad guy lair that we either have to infiltrate, very similar to what we did in the 2015 Heist DLC with the aircraft carrier. A lot of people are assuming we would have got the aircraft carrier in that update. We didn't. It was just a prop for that heist mission, and I think the submarine is going to be the same thing here. We're going to have to infiltrate it on a mission, but I doubt it will make its way into free roam sessions. Arthur says, if this is the last big DLC, do you see Rockstar taking a simpler route with all the future updates and potentially giving us tuners and outlaws? So I'm not so sure about tuners and outlaws, and I think you're right. I do think this is the last big DLC for Grand Theft Auto Online. However, I don't see Rockstar just completely dropping off the table here. I think that there will be smaller updates. I think there will be future holiday DLCs and expansions that they will continue to do. But I think as far as updates that are on this size, this scale, like Smugglers Run, like gunrunning, like import-export, I think those days are behind us, as Rockstar going to be moving to Red Dead Redemption 2. And unfortunately, I think a DLC like Tuners and Outlaws would eclipse that size of, this is going to be too big for them to do. But who knows? Maybe this is not the last DLC at all, and we're just getting started. Rockstar have plans for other updates, like potentially Tuners and Outlaws, Hipsters 2. I could go on and on. Really, the only ones who know at this point are Rockstar. I hope we're not done with the big updates like this, but I just have a feeling, given the Doomsday Heist theme. Moving on, we have a question from Anthony that is, will you have to complete the original heist from Fleeca to Pack Standard in order to do the Doomsday Heist? That is a good question and something I didn't even think about. My gut is telling me no, because how pissed would you be if you were ready to rock and roll on the Doomsday Heist and you get to the part where you buy the property and you get to the property and it says complete the other 5 heists first before getting to this one. And you would have so many people demoralized and dejected that wouldn't have access to the new content. So I'm going to say no. Would it probably make sense given the storyline of our online characters? Yeah, for the most part, but I don't think Rockstar is going to hold people to the fact that they're going to have to complete the other heist missions in order to get involved with this DLC. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Up next, we have a question from Jay that is, do you think the chiliad mystery will be solved in the Doomsday Heist DLC? So I think it will for the most part. I don't think Rockstar is going to come out and say, hey, this is the chiliad mystery solved. I think it's going to be something more in the background or like an Easter egg that the chiliad mystery hunters will understand, or that people that have been following the Easter egg closely will understand. So yeah, I do think there will be some mention to the reference in some way, shape, or form. Moving on, we have another question from Anthony. He says, do you think we'll be able to have a shootout in the IAEA building because of us having guns in the trailer and bullet holes in the artwork? Maybe Agent 14 turns on us. So I've talked about some of my theories for what I think is going to happen. What I think will occur is that Clifford, the supercomputer, is going to turn on us. And I do think we will have the opportunity to kill Agent 14, because I actually think he's the bad guy in all of this. He's been kind of sketchy since day one, since we started working with him in the original heist missions. And I don't know, I just think there's something up with the guy, and it kind of makes sense. Why would he pull a gun on us inside of that IAEA building if we weren't going to have the opportunity to kill him? So to me, that makes the most sense, and that's what I think is going to occur. But then again, I'm just excited to get into this update because it's a big bag of mystery for me, and I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Moving on, our next question comes from Rob. He says, do you think the Doomsday Heist will be similar to the existing heist in terms of having 3 or 4 setup missions and then a finale, or will it be one big mission? So it's not going to be one big mission. How I think it's going to differ is it's going to be like little missions, medium missions, the finale. So the way the original heist works, it was kind of like a linear line. Setup, 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 finale. I think this is going to be a pyramid. You're going to do tiny mission, tiny setup to get you to a medium-sized mission. Then you're going to do more tiny missions to get another medium-sized mission until you have 3 or 4 of those, building that second layer of the pyramid, and then until you can do the finale. So that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be a little bit more complex. It won't be as straightforward as a big mission, but it won't be a linear line like it was in the 2015 heist. Santa says, do you think the jetpacks will be a purchasable item that you can call via the mechanic, or do you think you'll have to go to Mount Chiliad or somewhere else in order to use it? So that's a great question. Number one, we don't even know if the jetpacks are going to be usable in free mode. I would assume they would. The way I can see them being delivered is really similar to the way the Juggernaut suit from gunrunning is delivered, where you have to call someone in order to get it delivered to you. Or I could see them having it stored inside of our hangars, like with Smugglers Run, since it is an aircraft after all. But I'm not sure what Rockstar are going to call it. Is it a weapon? Is it an aircraft? I really don't know. Those are my top 2 predictions for what I think is going to happen. You'll either call it in and it'll drop from the sky, or you'll have to go to your hangar, put it on, and then just fly out like any other normal aircraft. Zudin says, do you think we'll get any new vehicle storage? I hope so, because it's looking like this DLC is going to be giving us a lot of vehicles to choose from. In Smugglers Run, we obviously got a bunch of aircraft storage, but no vehicle storage. So who knows? Maybe the new property we have to purchase in this update will come with some on-site vehicle storage. That would definitely be nice. At a minimum, maybe a new garage. That would be pretty cool for Rockstar to allow us to add. Moving on, we have another question from Dakota that is, do you think we will have to do any research to unlock any weapons for the new vehicles? I am almost confident that research is returning. We have new Mark II weapons. We have new weaponized vehicles. All of those came from the gunrunning update, and those had research as well. So I'm assuming that it's going to return, which I'm not a big fan of because research is just basically a giant paywall in order to get things quicker. So not a fan of that, but I can almost guarantee you that it will be arriving. Hunter says, do you think we'll be able to repeat the heist, or will we only be able to play it once? I'm going to say you're going to be able to repeat the heist because I'm assuming there will be multiple positions that you can do for each mission. So for example, there might be a driver, there might be a pilot in one mission, so it'll give you the opportunity to play the roles over again. Number 2, how upset would you be if you could only play it once? Like, what if you beat it in 3 hours? Like, is that it? Is the DLC over? And then number 3, I'm assuming this is going to be a pretty nice way to make some money, so I would hope that you'd be able to repeat that process of making a good amount of money on the Doomsday Heist. So yes, I'm going to say you will be able to play it again. That random guy says, do you think that the new DLC will need stuff from both Gunrunning and Smugglers Run? So we saw the Hunter featured in the trailer. I don't know if we saw anything from gun running aside from clothing and maybe Mark II weapons. I don't think it'll be a necessity, but it certainly won't hurt having all those new weaponized vehicles and upgrades and whatnot. I'm assuming Rockstar will want you to use them, which is probably why they made those DLCs so that you could use those vehicles and abilities. But are they going to be required? Like, do you have to have something? Probably not, unless it's something like a bunker or a hangar, as I mentioned earlier, for maybe jetpack storage or further weaponized vehicle storage or something along those lines. X1 says, do you think the mansions that appear on the map will be purchasable for personal use, like a stilt house? So no, I don't. I think those red kind of squares or X's that were on the Doomsday Heist map and that I sort of mapped out on the GTA 5 map by putting squares over them, I think those are mansions that we're just going to have to steal a deluxo from. It would be really shocking to me if we could ultimately live there. That doesn't fit the theme at all of Doomsday Heist. Like mansions, you think of like prosperity, good times. Doomsday Heist is like, we got to save the world from total annihilation. So I'm going to say no. They're likely just mission objectives. Moving on, this next question comes from VC. He says, in the artwork, there was a guy that was just putting a silencer on his pistol. Do you think we'll have the option to do that on the fly? I'm going to say no, because we haven't had the option to do that before. That'd be really cool to go from like silenced to non-silenced mode, but I don't think Rockstar has that ability built into the game for our characters. We can't take other attachments off like flashlights or red dot sights or opticals, so I highly doubt that we're going to be able to do that. That was something Rockstar probably just did to make the artwork look even more snazzy. Moving on, our next question comes from Jay. He says, do you think the Chiliad mural maps out the corridors and rooms inside? This is a 2-year-old DLC after all. So Jay is right. This is like a 2-year-old single-player DLC. And I think Jay might have just cracked the code. So you guys know the Mount Chiliad mural, how it has those like little lines that run down all the way from the top? What if that isn't areas on the map, but actually the inside of Mount Chiliad that we're now about to get? Jay, you might be a genius. And if that's true, that is a great theory. I think that actually makes sense because at the bottom of one of them, you actually have the jetpack, a cracked egg, and then an alien ship. So underground, we should be looking for those 3 things. One of them we know is there, the jetpack. The other one would be a cracked egg and an alien ship. So we'll have to look for those when we're down there. Who knows? That might be like the greatest theory / mystery solved of all time. Up next, we have Bull Breed Forum that is, will heist take place in free mode or in a heist session like the originals, Fleesa, Prison Bank, Humane Labs, etc.? I would say that these are going to be in their own heist sessions where you're away from other players. Now, the reason I would say this is because I'm sure there's things you have to do in like part of free mode that won't be in buildings. And how annoying would it be if you had one person that knew where a part of the heist mission was and just killed you over and over and over again, preventing you from completing the objective? That would be so stupid to allow people to just interfere like that. So I'm hoping, and I want to say Rockstar knows that they're going to do the right thing and that they're going to do these heist missions in the heist lobbies where they belong, away from the scum and toxicity that is free mode lobbies in Grand Theft Auto Online, especially public sessions. That's another thing. Hopefully we don't have to do these in public sessions and we can do them from the peacefulness of our own personal crew, friend, and invite-only lobbies. Moving on, we have another question from Rob that is, do you think the content in the Doomsday Heist will be unlocked only after the heist is completed, or will we be able to buy it without completing the heist? So I'm going to say you have to complete the heist mission in order to unlock it, because this is what Rockstar did in the original Heist DLC, and there's a couple vehicles that I think you almost need to defeat first, like they were boss battles. So, for example, that tank that we saw, I think that's controlled by Clifford, and I feel like the only way Rockstar would allow you to get that tank is if you beat that part of the heist mission, giving you control of the vehicle in the heist, which would allow you to unlock it in free mode. That's going to be my best guess. Or they might do what they've done recently, have like a buy it now price or a completed the heist price, where it's like 25% cheaper. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. That will also be one of the biggest mysteries of this heist DLC. And our final question today, I know we had a lot of them. This comes from Justix, that is, will there be a criminal mastermind thing on the new Heist 2? That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. There's more than just the criminal mastermind heist. There's like the doing them all in order. I know there's a couple other rewards for doing the heist missions. That will be interesting. My guess is going to be no. just because it's only one heist. It's not a series of heists. But who knows? Rockstar might throw some cool rewards and bonuses for doing heists a certain way. It would certainly be nice if they did add some bonuses, at least for like the first time you go through it, maybe $1 million or $2 million extra to really sweeten the pot of that nice payout. So that's what I'm hoping Rockstar ends up doing. But who knows? Maybe they just won't do a thing. Maybe that was something they only did for the heist back in 2015. But anyways, that's all the questions that I'm going to be going over in this week's Q&A. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'm sorry it was a long one. I tried to keep it as short-ish as I could, but we had 20 plus amazing questions today regarding the Doomsday Heist DLC that once again is going to be coming out on Tuesday. As always, if you guys want to get involved in a future video like this, all you got to do is go in the description, follow me on Twitter, and use the hashtag AskBoss whenever I'm looking for Q&A questions, and you might find yourself featured in the next one like this. Anyways, with out of the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.